Hey, it's Eddie K here for the Best Buy blog, and in this video we look at the Garmin Venu 2 Plus, a smartwatch that Garmin's made that kind of straddles a line between a true smartwatch and a fitness-heavy watch. If you're familiar with Garmin smartwatches, then you may know the Phoenix and the Forerunner lines that are pretty serious about getting fit and getting active. The Venu 2 Plus can be like that too, but it's also more like a smartwatch in something that you might see from Apple, Samsung, or Google, for example. What you have here is a more integrative process as opposed to the others, which are more focused. Here you have a little bit of everything going on, and so if that appeals to you, this might be the watch that you want to strap on your wrist. Case in point is the fact that this is a touchscreen and also has 3 physical buttons. They use them in tandem to navigate the interface to get around. An interface that, by the way, looks different from other Garmin smartwatches as well. It may feel like, if you're coming from something like an Apple Watch, let's say, or even a Samsung Watch, this might feel less intuitive than those do, partly because those have the opposite, where you're using the screen a lot more than you're using any buttons. But it's actually not that hard to get your way around or to find your way around here, because a lot of it just comes down to single presses, press and hold, and things like that. The watch itself is pretty durable, even though it may not look it. So you can go swimming with this without a problem. You can take this in water. It is fairly rugged, even though the screen is exposed. It's certainly not going to match the rigidity or durability, perhaps, of something like from the Phoenix line, for instance, which is definitely more heavy duty than this. But the idea is to have something that's both durable and svelte at the same time, and this does, so it ticks both those boxes, which is always nice. You do have the standard sensors inside. Again, you're not going to have the same amount of stuff that is in the other watches, but you do get a fair amount here, including an ECG, which unfortunately is not active as of this review in Canada. So that just goes to show that Garmin is going to continue to improve the watch by adding new features to it. So as is, you can obviously measure your heart rate, you can get blood oxygen through the SpO2 sensor, things like that. Those are standard things that you get here. And more importantly, you also have GPS, built-in GPS. So if you want to track your distance, your pace, things like that, especially if you're out for a run, this is a watch that's going to do that for you very accurately. One of the things that Garmin always does well with smartwatches is that kind of accuracy, right? So even if you're a golfer, for example, and you want to wear one of these, you can have course information that you can download through the Garmin Connect app on your phone and bring it onto here. Again, it's not a golf-focused watch like some of the other Garmin models that are out there, but it's something that you can use. And again, that kind of speaks to the versatility that I'm talking about here, where you don't have to be athletic in one particular way to necessarily enjoy the watch or to like what it tracks. You can benefit from all those things regardless of what it is you're into. So whether you're a runner, a golfer, or a cyclist, whatever, there's going to be something for you while wearing this. There's a pretty dizzying array of exercises that you can track on this too, all of which you can select on the watch or through the Garmin Connect app that can then sync over. It goes even further on the app. So if you are using the watch, of course, you do need to get into the Garmin Connect app on your phone as well. This is iOS or Android, it doesn't matter. There you can customize and tailor a number of things that apply to the watch too. So if you, for example, wanted to go into a certain workout or training regimen, you can find it on there and then apply it here. Same with if you wanted to, for example, download certain apps that you wanted to use, like Strava or some other app that you're using while you're running, you can also make use of that too by integrating it here. There's a number of, in fact, I'm just scratching the surface here. The customizations are all over the place. Challenges that you can challenge other, friends as well if you wanted to do the same kind of run and see who can do it faster. This is standard stuff for Garmin. It's not necessarily specific to the watch. It's just something that you can access on this like you could with some of the other models from the other lines that Garmin has. What I liked was that in between workouts or when you're not working out, you can get things like, you could do breath work. So there are breathing exercises if you need to do that. Not exactly like meditation, but it helps kind of just get your breathing going. Health snapshot's pretty cool too. It'll give you some quick metrics that you can see kind of to see where you stand. The watch is not necessarily going to look for things like atrial fibrillation. It's not going to necessarily know that there is if your heart rate is off or anything. But if something does seem off, like maybe your heart rate is a little high, you can save that information in the Connect app and even save it as a PDF if you want and send it to your doctor. So I think that is pretty cool. Again, not specific to the Venu 2 Plus, but something that Garmin does offer on its watches, and that includes this one too. I mentioned app integration earlier. I should tell you though that this is limited. So on the music side, Spotify and Deezer are the primary music streaming apps that you can use on this. So if you're a Spotify premium subscriber, you will love the integration on this. You can save playlists and songs on here and listen to them directly from the watch to a pair of headphones or earbuds. So that way you got your phone out of the way. Aside from that though, the apps are fairly limited, and you'll know that if you go to the Connect IQ app. So there's the Connect app and then there's the Connect IQ app. So these are two separate apps that Garmin has. IQ will show you some of the apps that can integrate, and you'll notice that the pickings are a bit slim there. So instead, Garmin sort of prioritized, well, okay, we'll have a speaker and a microphone on the watch, so that way people, you can do phone calls. So you can respond to calls, you can make calls, and you can also access your phone's voice assistant using the watch directly. Those things work perfectly fine. The speaker, the microphone, they're all very efficient. There's no issues there. I think though, if you are looking for a watch that's going to integrate a number of apps that you might use, like for example, you want Uber, or I don't know, some sort of a photography app where you can use the watch as a shutter, you're going to probably not find those on here. And that's one of the limitations, is that the app integration is not going to match what you would typically see, say on a Samsung or Google, or especially an Apple Watch, right? So you're trading off that kind of smartphone integration with the litany of stuff that you get when it comes to health and fitness, especially on the fitness side, because obviously that's the primary focus here, and Garmin really gives that to you in spades. That doesn't mean you won't see notifications. You will see notifications even from apps that have nothing to do with the watch. So for example, if somebody's texting you or you get an email, let's say you have a home security camera set up and it sees somebody, you will get those notifications just like your phone would, but you can't do anything with them. So unless you pick up your phone and then act on them there, you can't really do much with anything here. For text messages, for example, on an Android phone, you can respond to a message through like a canned response, but you can't say speak into the watch and then respond to it that way for it to transcribe what it is you want to say so that it can send it to whoever whoever texted you. So there are some limitations in that regard as well. But other than that, you can see what's coming in. So battery life is always a concern with any smartwatch, and here it's pretty good actually. I had it last almost a week. On average, I had about 5 days before I need to recharge. It really depends mostly on how much you're using the GPS. That is probably the biggest drainer. If you're using the screen and you're leaving it always on, that's obviously going to kill a lot of the battery as well. But with moderate usage, I would say probably between 5 to 7 days. If you're really active and you're using the GPS a lot every day, it's probably going to be maybe 4 days. Either way though, that's pretty good, and that's better than a lot of the other smartwatches that are out there. So if there is one benefit in using this, it's also that you're not going to have to charge it that often. But just don't lose the charging cable. This watch uses a proprietary charging cable. It doesn't charge wirelessly. You got to plug it in, and it's a unique plug. So you don't want to lose that cable. And if you're going to travel with this watch, make sure to bring that cable with you. And that's my review of the Garmin Venu 2 Plus for the Best Buy blog. I'm Teddy K. Thanks for watching.